9 Rikers Island inmates reportedly rearrested just weeks after receiving get-out-of-jail-free cards from New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
So the Board of Parole, under my direction, will have 191 people released today. They have served their sentences under the dictates of the new less is more, but they shouldn't have to wait for the enactment date. 191 today.
Here to react to New York City Councilman Joe Borelli. Good morning to you, Joe.
Good morning. Happy Columbus Day.
Happy Columbus Day. So why would the governor immediately release 191 inmates? 9 of them have already been rearrested.
Well, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. You know, she's someone who grew up in politics trying to frame herself as a moderate Democrat, but now she finds herself facing a very real primary in June against bona fide progressives down in New York City. So she's doing everything she can in this brief period of time to appeal to the fringe far left. And one of those is adopting this, close Rikers, let people out of jail mantra, where we're releasing people, even though in many cases these are known gang members. These aren't people who were arrested for marijuana or something one time. These are people who are known criminals, known violent criminals.
Yeah, and I was reading about one of the guys who was released because of Kathy Hochul and then rearrested. And he was rearrested, pulled over for speeding and having too much tint in his window. And there was a gun in the back of his car. And I was just thinking, thankfully, none of the officers involved were hurt. But that situation could have ended a lot differently.
Yeah, look, it's a confluence of two policies that Democrats don't like. It's broken windows policing, number one, pulling over a car for a minor infraction that ends up bearing a loaded gun that would have otherwise been used to shoot someone, presumably, in a crime-plagued neighborhood. Unfortunately, this logic of just letting people out of Rikers is just flawed to begin with. There is a problem on Rikers Island. The buildings are in disrepair. But Democrats want you to believe that the only solution is to just let people out of jail. If a school building was leaking pipes or water or something like that, we wouldn't just tell kids there's no more school. We'd move them to a new building, a new classroom, and go on. They want you to believe that the only solution is no more jail for anyone.
Yeah, I was reading. So the governor just signed the Less is More Act. It may be the first time some people are hearing of this. I think that we're going to be talking about it a lot more going forward because this will stop criminals from being put back in jail for missing appointments with their parole officer, for violating curfew, or testing positive for drugs and alcohol. So is this a law now that she signed that will allow people to just get out of jail and then you have a very difficult time rearresting them?
Yeah, it's a law she signed, and they expedited just to get people out quicker. These are people who wanted parole. They sought parole. And if you know what parole is, people get out a bit early so long as they agree to a series of conditions and promises. When those people don't meet those conditions and promises, they find themselves back in jail. This is not like just happenstance. These people have made a bad decision. They're serving their time, and they're rearrested for violating the terms. So it really is, again, just a flawed policy from top to bottom.
Well, there have been 362 homicides in New York City as of October 6th. And you have to wonder how high will that number have to go before these soft on crime policies become unpopular? Are they still popular in the state of New York?
No, and we're seeing some pushback. Where I work in the city council every day, we have people that were former defund the police politicians now coming around and saying we actually do need more police. We just all wrote a letter actually to the governor basically saying that we need the police to come out and make more gun arrests. So you are seeing a turnaround. I do think the election of Eric Adams was a sign to progressive Democrats in New York City that we can be progressive on some issues, but if we don't have basic public safety, if we don't have a basic functioning police force, everything we do is moot.
Yeah, you make a lot of sense. Councilman Joe Borelli, thank you so much for joining us this